The cat is out of the bag and Manor Lords hit early access as of the 26th of April. The long-awaited Patreon-backed project is available on Steam for a good week now, and the hype train seems to be slowing down a bit as the game is drawing in positive reviews. Hello and welcome to this video. I'm Pixelated Quest and today we'll be playing Manor Lords and figuring out if it's worth playing. If you like this video, please consider subscribing to my channel or leaving a like or a comment. Now, since the game was released just a short while ago, I didn't want to do a video straight away about this game, mainly for two reasons. The first one being that there was a lot of hype created around this game, and I did not want to do a video that would have me talking about how great the game is while my mind was still foggy with the articles and the reviews I read about the game, and videos about players posting how they are walking through their settlement and going completely nuts about it. And the second one being, I was on vacation last week. With the hype fog, as I like to call it, clearing a bit, I can give my unbiased opinion on this game and try to figure out if it's worth playing. Manor Lords is a medieval city builder and real-time game developed by Slavic Magic and published by Hooded Horse. More importantly, this was one of the most anticipated titles of this year so far, with reported Steam wishlisters exceeding over 3 million. For reference, most games on Steam don't get over 5,000 wishlists. The game was originally planned to be released in late 2023, but was delayed because the developer felt like it needed more bug fixes and polish. The premise of Manor Lords is set in the late 14th century Franconia. The game now has 3 different modes titled Rise to Prosperity, Restoring the Peace, and On the Edge. These are differentiated by the aspects they focus on. Rise to Prosperity and On the Edge respectively emphasize growth through city building and conquest through warfare, while Restoring the Peace gives a more balanced experience. The game offers a degree of customizability, with players able to adjust in-game values such as starting position and off-map threats, but we will get to that in a moment. The city building aspect focuses on expanding an initially small settlement through gathering resources, managing supply chains, and expanding trading networks while also managing threats to the settlement. The game's emphasis on in-depth historical accuracy means players must manage 6 individual types of taxation and balance quick growth with natural aspects such as weather and the possibility of environmental degradation, for example, soil exhaustion and deforestation. The game is normally played through a top-down isometric perspective, but also includes a feature which enables players to explore their settlement using a third-person camera mode. People on social media and on YouTube have gone crazy about this feature. Me, on the other hand, not so much. But I will get to that at the end of this video, so stick around. At the time of this recording, there are currently 23,173 players in the game, with a 24-hour peak of 49,000 concurrent players and an all-time player peak of a little over 173,000 concurrent players on release day. For reference, a somewhat similar game, Farthest Frontier, had an all-time player peak of 25,000 concurrent players. With an overall review score of 88% out of 31,932 total reviews being positive, making Manor Lords rated as very positive on Steam at the time of this recording. So with that said, I'm ready to build a thriving settlement and tax the hell out of my subjects. And here's my take on it. I pick my character, set a name, and then I can pick the coat of arms, which is a quite nice mechanic where the player can mess around a bit. I go for the subtle red-tinted undergarments on a yellow background. We start off with a small settlement with just 5 workers available in the region called Zwea. I'm most likely butchering this region's name. we have some bare resources that will allow us to have a foundation for our settlement. Now, first of all, something that I really like about this game is the road building feature. It is very intuitive and the roads curve between impasses and objects automatically, which makes building roads very simple. First, what I like to do in this game is to build a logging camp, which will generate wood and allow me to build other buildings, along with a hunting cabin and a foraging hut. Both should allow me to start stockpiling food. Equally important I found to be is building a granary and a storehouse. Otherwise, food will get soaked and spoiled during rainy days. Then I build a few brigade plots, so the settlers will have a home and likely not freeze to death during the winter. Each of the brigade plots allows you to construct a backyard extension, given that you built a big enough plot. These on level 1 can produce 3 extra items: vegetables, eggs, and hides from sheep. I picked the vegetable garden here as food is my main priority right now, and we can change the backyard of each plot at any time. Next up is farming, and for that we need to construct a field and a farmhouse to work the field. I add a few more brigade plots so that I do not need to shift my workers around all the time. You see, this is the main point of the game early on, shifting your workforce. The shortage of workers is inevitable in Manor Lords, therefore the only thing you can do is to shift them between different productions. In between shifting my workers, I built a woodcutting lodge, which will allow me to produce fuel in the form of firewood, which is vital for upgrading settlements. Once new families moved into our settlements, we have increased our level and gained a development point. Development points are used to unlock different add-ons and perks in the game, like I do here with the trapping perk, which will enable hunters to lay traps and generate passive income of meat. Now that we have a field with wheat, we will need to also build a mill and a communal oven. Wheat will be turned into grain, grain will be turned into flour, and flour will be used to bake bread, which will increase our food supplies. Then I go and build a few more brigade plots, which I will use for the artisans. And while I'm focusing on doing that, I get a notification saying harvest season ended, which means that I cannot harvest my fields anymore this season. Great, all of my settlers will die in the winter. But let's try to avoid that at least. While this is a problem for now, it is not an actual problem for next season, as crops can be harvested in the next season, which even allows them to fully grow to 100%, making the yield much bigger, so I will just harvest the next season. Winter rolls in, and at this point my settlement should be able to survive. So it seems at least. During this time, I focus on iron mining in the mining pit. Once you survive the first winter, you have to deal with a nearby raiders camp, which will attack you in 1 year. Then I go and force an early harvest on my wheat that I forgot to harvest last season. With the decent yield, I turn the wheat into grain, and I am now able to process it to flour. And after a while, I turn the flour into bread in the communal oven. In the left corner of the screen, we have the days counter of how long we still have before the raiders appear. Right now we have 271 days left. So, in order to be prepared for the raiders, we need to have weapons and we need to buy them, which means we need money, and you generate income by trading or exporting goods. So, I go and build a clay mining pit, a clay furnace, and a trading post. This process will allow me to create roof tiles out of clay and export them for profits. While we are producing the roof tiles, I decide to try the visit mode, which allows the player to walk in their village. With that experience being behind us, I have enough roof tiles to export them and make a decent amount coin off of them. But first, we need to establish a trade route. Some goods don't require an established trade route, but roof tiles do. So I purchased that and we are good to send our first trader with the roof tiles on his way. After I purchase a few bows and spears, I form a militia and wait out the resting days for the riders to arrive. And then this happens. After I was preparing a whole year for the invading raiders, my neighbor's army intercepts them before they reached me. Well, okay, I guess. So, without the need to fight the raiders, I go and focus on my settlement. In the resting playtime, I go and advance my settlement by building a manor, and once my manor is completed, I become the Lord of the Manor in Manor Lords. This was just a brief overview of what Manor Lords is about and essentially how well the game plays on a micromanagement level while being in early access. Manor Lords is a very detailed resource management game that requires the players to not just focus on production but also, and which is likely even more important, to focus on planning your workers and shifting them around different production facilities, as it is inevitable that you will face a shortage of workers to fill in each building. Therefore, for me, it is much more important to be constantly clicking around buildings and reassigning workers from one building to another in order to be efficient and to complete production cycles. For example, harvesting crops, then moving the workers to the mill to make flour, and then moving them again from the mill to the communal oven to bake bread using the flour they just created. Now, at the beginning of this video, I talked about the feature which enables players to explore their settlement using a third-person camera mode, and that I will address it at the end of this video. So, almost instantly as the game was released, influencers, YouTubers and players uploaded footage of how they are walking through their settlement, and most of them were completely nuts about this feature. To those who uploaded such videos, you do understand that games like Medieval Dynasty exist? A first-person medieval game where you have to essentially build settlements, same as in Manor Lords, but from a first or third-person view. The whole walk into your settlement feature in Manor Lords is nothing special to talk about for me. It is buggy and you walk through objects and walls. I don't know, maybe I'm missing something. Let me know in the comments what you think about this game and this feature in general. Manor Lords is a good game that will have you invest for a few hours while trying to fine-tune and optimize your settlements, conquer new territories and fight off bandits. There are a few issues also with the game, as it feels a bit empty after a while, many things are not yet implemented or working as they should, and the overall lack of building options stands out. But nevertheless, it is a promising early access title that will hopefully see its full potential come to light during the early access stage or once it hits full release. Now for some reviews. Watch hundreds of people starve for 15 years. Genuine medieval experience. After 10 minutes, my villagers started a rebellion against me. 10 out of 10. Can recommend. Overrated, overhyped. Banished with extra steps on early access. My village is poor, hungry, cold and homeless. Riders keep murdering my babies. Please send help. 10 out of 10. So, should you play Manor Lords? Do you like clinging to dear life during your first winter, clearing entire continents of forests, having your last food resources stolen by bandits and walking through walls in third-person view? If so, then Manor Lords will surely live up to your expectations. In the words of one reviewer of Manor Lords, buy it, peasants! Let me know in the comment section what you think about this game and what game I should play next. Thank you for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, please consider subscribing to my channel and leaving a like or a comment. This would help me make more such videos and grow my channel. Have a wonderful day!